Hello, today I'm here with Maan Hamdan. So we were at the Hexa co-working event today talking about how to raise capital. So if you would like to introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Maan Hamdan. I'm the founder of Hexa, and this is our innovation center that we had this beautiful event today at. And we set it up so that we can have a lot of these events every week so that a lot of us learn from each other and innovate together.
Great. So you founded and scaled multiple companies like HRsmart, TrenData, and TechGenies. What's one lesson that repeated itself across all these ventures?
Well, it's because all these companies that I founded were located in North Texas. One of the common problems I've had with all of them has been the lack of investor capital. It's been difficult to get, and when I found the right investors, I had, in some cases, actually, I had a letter of intent from an investor that would invest in my company if I moved to Silicon Valley. It's that the location has been a problem from an investment perspective. It's the best location on earth to create a business, to run a business, to grow a business, to do sales and revenues, central in the country, central in the world. It's just the investment capital has been the biggest issue for me.
Is there a specific reason why it's so difficult to raise money here in Dallas?
The investment market has not, mainly the technology investment. I'm speaking about technology because that's my area of focus. That has not yet materialized, and I believe that most of the investors in the area, most of the family offices in the area tend to invest in things that they're familiar with, which ends up being real estate or finance. And this is my opinion, I don't know that for a fact, but I feel that technology investments seem to be more risky for them, and because of that, they don't tend to do it.
So in your experience working with early stage founders, whether through legal counsel, operational advising, or funding, what's one trait or mindset that immediately tells you if a founder is going to succeed or crash their startup?
You're asking if there is one thing I look for that will tell me if that person is going to succeed or fail?
Yeah.
Yes. Two, honestly, that I look for in a founder. I don't know which one of them is more important than the other, but the drive and the flexibility. Maybe the drive would be the one that is highest, in that any entrepreneur, if they have the right drive and passion, they will be able to surpass or fix any issues they run into along the way. Because we all can learn, so if we make mistakes, we can learn and fix them. If we need to do certain things, if you have the right drive, you'll work hard enough to do it. And flexibility is very important, in my opinion, because the entrepreneur needs to always adjust to the situation in front of them, because life is not predictable. And if somebody writes a business plan that takes them on an east road, and they find out for some reason that road is blocked, they need to be flexible enough to exactly move it to a different direction to get them to where they need to go.
That makes sense. So HRsmart was a major success and was acquired by Deltek. What were the key decisions or pivots that made that acquisition possible?
In our case, it was mostly the technology that we had built. And the company was not too large in revenues. We were around $20 million in revenue at the time. It wasn't that Deltek wanted to add a significant revenue to their billion-dollar, but it was more the technology. We had 9 individual software as a service solutions, HR technology, talent management solutions, that attracted them for that. And that's what we were very proud in building. And not only that solutions were by themselves, but the fact that they were all integrated, so they operated as one. That till today is a challenge in many cases. The fact that they were global, we had clients in 20 countries. the time, and that also something that very rare to have that we had that. So that was the major attraction.
So you created products that made like an ecosystem because they worked together, and that was one of the refining traits of what happened.
Yeah, products essentially they could stand alone and work alone. That they were designed to do that.
Mhm.
But if you, for example, one of the product is an applicant tracking solution, and another product is a employee performance management solution. Those two were connected such that if you're doing performance on management on someone, you know they were hired, you know what they did in the whole hiring process, where they were before were hired, and it will enable you to do a better knowledge of the person if you have that connectivity versus other systems standalone.
Mm.
If you're doing performance management on an employee, you have no clue where they came from or any of their past. So
Yeah. Yeah. You've helped startups navigate the foundational steps. What's one critical decision you think most entrepreneurs overlook early on before they develop themselves?
the entrepreneurs overlook
Mhm.
what's and overlook in their business. Okay. Yeah, so many things. I can't put my finger on one specific thing that I think entrepreneurs, um, the importance of funding, I think everybody knows that, although some do not give it as much importance and they think they can manage on their own. And they end up seeing a lot of entrepreneurs who had ideas that could have become unicorns
Yeah.
that they didn't raise enough money early on, and then a competitor stepped in and became the unicorn, and they didn't. They don't understand their market well enough, so they don't focus enough on the how to distribute. And Scott in the presentation shared that, where the entrepreneur is very important for them to know how are you going to get your product to the market. And a lot of entrepreneurs fail at that because they don't think about hiring the right salespeople or connecting with the right distributors or partners and things like that.
Okay. With TechGenies and GoGenies operating across 10 plus cities globally, how do you balance managing international teams and ensuring consistent culture and quality?
It is a challenge, you're correct. Not easy. I'll give an example now. TechGenies has a large office in Pakistan
Mhm.
and a large office in India. And as you heard from the news 3 weeks ago, India and Pakistan went into war with each other. It won't evolve to that, but they're bombing each other and killing each other. And here we have two offices that are supposed to be partners and working together in both countries. What we tend to do is highlight to every employee the importance of working as a global entity, and that the all first humans living on earth before we are Indians or Pakistanis or Lebanese or Americans. So our focus is on creativity and innovation, and the people we end up working with typically are more advanced in their thinking, and they can see the big picture versus the minute differences
Yeah.
culturally. It's still a challenge. You have, for example, a way to do business in the Philippines is very different than the way to do business in Lebanon. And we have done to master that. First is we learned it over time, and we learned it by us traveling and working in these. Personally, worked in 4 zones in the Middle East, in Latin America, in Asia. And when you do that, you learn how culturally they get sensitive to it and start training your people to be sensitive to it.
Mhm.
Second, we create in the offices, we create the culture where the people there feel the belonging to the global entity versus I'm part of this one country or one culture. And that helps them evolve and helps us kind of help them evolve.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of work. It's not easy,
Yeah.
but we have been able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
With companies going through major transitions, scaling, reorganizing, or even exiting, how do you help entrepreneurs prepare for growth while staying in control of their vision? So not straying from their path.
And foremost, my advice to every entrepreneur is have your business plan. Business plan is your roadmap.
Yeah.
That's going to take you to that top of the mountain that you seek. And once you build that, now it's almost like you have a map that you can always come back to. So if something happens that gets you off your path, you can come back to it and at least know where you're going and how you're going. So that's one thing very important to make sure that the entrepreneur stays their mission and vision. But like I mentioned before, flexibility is very important. So when it comes to the actual daily or weekly decisions or actions, if your business plan said that, month you need to do X and the market, something happens in the market that changes that, you have to be flexible as an entrepreneur to adjust without losing that vision of where you're going. And that's why the business plan is important. Because you're going, at that point, you're going to get off your track just because of market change, but you have something to remind you right away where you need to come back to.
So the business plan is one of the most important things.
That's, for me, I call it the roadmap. It's a map. That's how it's going to take you there. And it's a roadmap and I talk to entrepreneurs, I always tell them, it's like you're starting a business as if you're making a trip from here to New York. Let's say exit is going to New York. Starting the business, you're here. And building the business is like driving to New York City. You need a map to get there. And so you have to figure out how you're going to get there and draw that map. Now, along the way, you may run into a road that's blocked. It's okay. If you're flexible enough, you can move to another road. But if you don't have a road map, you get lost.
When you move out of those.
New York will disappear. But you have your roadmap. So if you get off that track, you can easily get back on the track because you know where you need to go. Okay? That's what
You founded Education Unbound to expand access to software and sciences. What role do you believe nonprofits should play in today's innovation ecosystem?
Humongous role. It's especially spoke in Dubai a year ago about AI. And at the time, I did some research, and it was in the research, it was that by the year I believe it was end of 2026, which was a couple of years from when that research was written, there were going to be 59 million jobs lost to AI. However, AI was going to create 98 million new jobs. So, like what happened with the internet, like what happened with the industrial revolution, yes, it's going to displace some jobs and it's going to create new ones. Now, people that go to the Richardson School District or McKinney School District, or the kids and their teachers may not that, or may not be aware of it, and they may continue going to the same route to get a job in what's going to be displaced by AI. And if they do that, they'll end up being disappointed because by the time they graduate, they find, okay, no more jobs. And so nonprofits need some of the guidance so that these kids understand what's coming, understand what's going to happen. Not just kids, but teachers. I mean, our Education Unbound, we do a lot of professional development for teachers, not just the students, but also prepare the students so that they're aware of things that are going to happen that they may not learn at school. Schools don't teach kids, let's say, robotics or about AI or about cybersecurity. Kids are too young to think about, but you want them to be aware of that. That's where nonprofits can come in and do it in a very fun way, interactive way, play way. So where they learn stuff as they get to school, they are now thinking about this new environment and adjusting to it. So nonprofit is key to helping when at any time, but especially when there is big changes in the situation that we are in.
So last question, from your seat, operational or investment How do you think founders should balance being innovative and managing risk responsibly?
Balancing between being innovative and managing risk is a good question. Although, for me, it's innovative risk. That's me, the entrepreneur, talking.
Yeah.
The investors will tell you, no, manage first and be innovative second. The balance, though, is the way I would define it is you have to be as innovative as you can while making sure that your business plan is fundable.
Okay.
And for your business plan to be fundable, the risk has to be normal, not out of this world. Like, again, I'll share the example that Scott mentioned, where the founder came to them and rolling out this business, and they asked him, "What's your market?" The robots.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, global."
Market.
And, it's like they didn't fund him because that's taking a risk out of this. That's not being innovative. But you can be innovative, and you can risk by, okay, I'm going to roll out this new in a circle that doesn't require too much investment and too much risk. And when that works, I will expand it to the next level and the next level. So there are ways to do innovation and manage risk at the same time. But for me, innovating is supreme.
Yeah.
And obviously, all of us will need. So you have to do it in a way that allows the investor to invest in you without significant risk.
So if you want to innovate, take it slowly, do incrementally so that you can keep the funding.
Exactly.
Keep going forward.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can fund at times. Since, like an angel investor may help your business in DFW. Now, you did this very well. You can go to the next investment. Maybe a seed investment will take you to the whole country. You did well there. Maybe you go to a VC and raise money and go globally. So you can accomplish your doing it in steps rather than trying to get from A to Z in one jump.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.